we are given that the absolute value of z1 plus z2 is equal to root 3. Take the square of both sides, we get the absolute value of z1 plus z2 square is equal to 3. Now the left hand side can be written as the product of z1 plus z2 and its conjugate, which implies that z1 plus z2 multiplied by the conjugate of z1 plus the conjugate of z2 is equal to 3. Opening up the left hand side, we get z1 times the conjugate of z1 plus z1 times the conjugate of z2 plus z2 times the conjugate of z1 plus z2 times the conjugate of z2 is equal to 3. Now multiply and divide the second term by z2 and multiply and divide the third term on the left hand side by z1. Therefore, this equation can be written as absolute value of z1 square plus z1 upon z2 times the absolute value of z2 square plus z2 upon z1 times the absolute value of z1 square plus the absolute value of z2 square is equal to 3. Now we are given that the absolute value of z1 and the absolute value of z2 are equal to 1. Using this result, the above equation becomes 1 plus z1 upon z2 plus z2 upon z1 plus 1 is equal to 3, which implies that z1 upon z2 plus z2 upon z1 is equal to 1. Let's call this result 1. Now the square of the absolute value of z1 minus z2 is equal to the product of z1 minus z2 and its conjugate, and this is equal to z1 minus z2 multiplied by the conjugate of z1 minus the conjugate of z2. Opening this up, we get z1 times the conjugate of z1 minus z1 times the conjugate of z2 minus z2 times the conjugate of z1 plus z2 times the conjugate of z2. Multiply and divide the second term by z2 and multiply and divide the third term by z1. This expression is equal to the absolute value of z1 square minus z1 upon z2 times the absolute value of z2 square minus z2 upon z1 times the absolute value of z1 square plus the absolute value of z2 square. We are given that absolute value of z1 and the absolute value of z2 are both equal to 1. Using this result, the absolute value of z1 minus z2 square is equal to 1 minus z1 upon z2 minus z2 upon z1 plus 1, which is equal to 2 minus in brackets z1 upon z2 plus z2 upon z1. But using result 1, we know that z1 upon z2 plus z2 upon z1 is equal to 1, and therefore it follows that the square of the absolute value of z1 minus z2 is equal to 2 minus 1, which is equal to 1. Now since the absolute value of z1 minus z2 is a positive number, it therefore follows that the absolute value of z1 minus z2 is equal to 1. And this is the required answer.